Hello everyone, welcome to House News. In this episode, we'll present a special and thorough coverage of the 144th Interparliamentary Union. Coming up, Indonesia's resort island of Bali is hosting the 144th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union, or IPU, and its related meeting from Sunday, March 20 to Thursday, 24. All over the world, the COVID-19 pandemic is having a devastating effect on the lives of children, girls, and young women. Economic challenges during the outbreak pose a serious threat to women and children. Across every sphere, from health to economy, security to social protection, the impact of COVID-19 are exacerbated for women and children simply by the virtue of their gender. Indonesian delegation is lobbying representative at the 144th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union, or IPU, for their support to complete Russian and Ukraine conflict through diplomatic dialogue. World Parliament Assembly, or Interparliamentary Union, the 144th IPU is attended by 115 countries with 1,000 delegation and 33 speakers of parliament worldwide.
It was stated recently by the Speaker of the House, the honoris causa Dr. Puan Maharani, while having pre-opening press conference of the 144th IPU in Nusa Dua, Bali. Puan conveyed, Indonesia is honored to host this year's International Parliament Assembly, which display a major role in solving global issues.
Tentu saja hal ini membuktikan bahwa Indonesia adalah negara yang dipercaya oleh dunia internasional karena dianggap mampu dan nyaman serta aman dalam menyelenggarakan IPU ke-144. Sebagai tuan rumah penyelenggara, maka secara otomatis Ketua DPR RI akan memimpin seluruh persidangan sebagai President of Assembly. Dan tentu saja harapan kami melalui IPU ini, Indonesia akan dapat mencapai keseluruhan resolusi yang diadopsi, dapat menyelesaikan masalah global yang penting dan dianggap perlu untuk mendapatkan perhatian seluruh komunitas yang ada di dunia.
Carrying the main theme on climate change, Indonesia will persuade the world parliaments attending the convention to construct the best resolution related to government policies regarding climate change. Furthermore, the 144 IPU aims at several subjects such as sustainable development or SDGs, gender equality, democracy and human rights, and world peace and security. TVR Parliament report.
The House emphasizes the importance of global cooperation to ensure the active participation of women in various fields, especially politics and economy.
Member of the Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperation of the House, Irene Yusiana Robaputri stated the COVID-19 pandemic has intensified gender inequality, particularly related to women's health issues, children, and adolescents. Irene urges Forum of Women's Parliament to keep supporting global recovery campaign in acknowledging challenges facing women.
Kita memerlukan sinergi yang lebih kuat antar seluruh pemangku kepentingan, baik di tingkat nasional, regional, global, dengan peran sentral parlemen di dalamnya, terutama melalui peran parlemen perempuan.
The Speaker of the House, the honoris causa Dr. Puan Maharani, points out the need for global cooperation to give space for women to participate in using and developing their potential. Gender equality issues in politics, particularly women's participation in parliament, is supposed to be one of major subjects discussed and concluded at the 144 IPU Assembly.
IPU berada di garis terdepan, lead by example, dalam mengharusutamakan kesetaraan gender. IPU harus berada di garda terdepan dalam mendorong berpartisipasi atau partisipasi perempuan dalam pengambilan keputusan.
Women's Parliament Forum at IPU this year provides gender-based proposals for two design of resolution. She profoundly hopes Forum at IPU could drive the realization of gender equality globally, not only in the time of COVID-19 recovery, but also to the upcoming future. From Bali Province, TVR Parliament report.
In Bali, Alda Gustari has a special interview with the president of IPU, Mr. Duarte Pacheco. The interview discussed interesting points and this year's IPU special theme, which is mobilizing Parliament to act on climate change.
So this is my interview with Mr. Duarte Pacheco, the president of IPU, and thank you, sir, for having us today.
It is my pleasure.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's an honor to meet you here. And first of all, I want to ask you on your speech in inaugural ceremony, you seem very excited about the 144th IPU because it is hosted in Bali. Why was that?
Because the Balinese people is amazing.
Okay.
We feel at home, very kind, always ready to help us to achieve what we need, what we are looking for. The food is excellence.
Yes.
And in the end, the organization.
Yeah.
We know that we may trust in the Indonesians and with the Indonesian Parliament when the Parliament decides to invite us to any kind of meetings. And so, one good Parliament, a general debate about climate change.
Yes.
And this is one of the topics,
Yeah,
of
okay.
course, because it is important for all humankind.
Yep.
Exists, it's real, and you know in this region how real is the climate change.
Yeah.
And if we don't change our behaviors, it will be the end of all of us. So we need to act now.
I think, yeah, I get that point. And maybe my last questions will about the climate change issue, the big issue that we are talking here in the 144th IPU. So how do you perceive the urgency of resolutions to be applied by the government? So here in this assembly, we are trying to have resolutions, right? And how important that the resolutions to be applied for the government, you think?
It will be, I hope, need to wait to the end of our work.
Yeah, of course.
But I believe that the resolution about this item will happen. And what we need to do, we parliamentarians, is to go home and to urge our government to implement it.
Okay.
Because I think that people are tired of words.
True. If there is no action, right?
I am also tired of words. And so if we approve one resolution and if we in our own parliament don't urge our government to implement what we approved here, we are not doing our job.
Okay.
So this is the more important task for each parliamentarian that went to Bali.
Yeah.
After go on, please not give up to implement the decisions that someone in a free way decide to approve.
Okay.
Because if we think that something is important, we need to call our governments to implement it.
That's really nice because some people think that the parliament does not have a big power as the government does. So your quotes is really, really important, sir. I hope that it can be implemented soon after this IPU. We hope so. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Pacheco, for your time. Have a great time in Indonesia, and thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure because it's always a pleasure to come to Indonesia.
The emerge of post-pandemic economic challenges needed to anticipate by the government. One of the things regarding women's welfare, it is required strong movement from women's parliament to promote the recovery of the condition.
In the Forum of Women Parliamentarians at the 144th IPU Assembly in Nusa Dua, Bali, member of the Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperation of the House, Putri Aneta Komarudin, explained there should be specific attempts from the Women Parliament to urge the government to respond to the problems of women's welfare, one of which by giving pandemic aid kit in economic, health, or social to ensure women's independence. This effort is in accordance with government programs to place the quality of life of women, children, and youth as a national priority.
We need to shift our relief measures to a longer-term recovery plan that is inclusive and more gender equitable to reach the pre-pandemic condition faster and even better than before. To achieve it, it is time for us, parliamentarians, to put women, children, and adolescents' health and well-being at the forefront of our recovery measures.
Putri also added unpredictable pandemic condition makes women, children, and adolescent problems become uncertain. Consequently, through the Women Parliamentarian, Putri urges the government to transfer direct assistance to the long-term recovery program. From Bali Province, TVR Parliament report.
The House encourages the settlement of the Ukraine-Russia conflict through dialogue. At the IPU Assembly, the House states the Parliament plays a role in encouraging how conflict that occurs in the part of the world can be avoided.
In the ASEAN +3 Forum World Parliament Assembly in Nusa Dua, Bali, Vice Speaker for Politics and Security of the House, Ludwig F. Paulus, expressed the conflict gives huge impact to the world, including Indonesia. Therefore, Indonesia promotes dialogue between Russia and Ukraine to resolve the heat crisis of both countries. This proposal is expected to drive a resolution of peace, which can be adopted as a consensus in the 144th IPU Assembly.
Kalau kita bersikap tentunya memihak ke salah satu, tentunya secara politik juga tidak bagus buat kita, ya. Dalam konteks menjaga perdamaian dunia, ya, kita sebagai negara non-blok juga, ya, itu tentunya melihat situasi nih, ya, jangan sempat geopolitik ini berpengaruh kepada akhirnya pada geostrategi yang tentunya kita akan terapkan.
In the same occasion, Chairperson of the Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperation of the House, Fadlizon, affirmed the proposal was agreed to be a resolution by the leaders of the forum, which led by Cambodia. This agreement is brought to the Asia-Pacific meeting as a proposal for emergency item issue during the 144th IPU Assembly.
Hanya menyalahkan dan kemudian tidak ada solusi, kita tidak akan menjadi satu jembatan bagi masyarakat, jadi people gitu ya, untuk mencari penyelesaian dari konflik tersebut. Nah, karena itulah kemudian kami mengusulkan ada mengedepankan the role of parliament.
Fadli hopes the final resolution is impartial, does not cover on one side, and prioritize parliament diplomatic to end the conflict.
And that's House News special episode on the 144th IPU Assembly. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good day.